All right, get ready for an absolute clash of the Titans, ancient style. We're about to watch two masters of logic go head-to-head over what seems like a simple mistake in a sacred ritual. But the outcome, you'll see, reveals this powerful idea about the exact moment an action can completely change what something is. It's going to be fascinating.
So here's how we're going to break down this incredible debate. First, we'll tackle the ritual riddle at the heart of it all. Then we'll get right to the core disagreement between our two scholars. After that, we'll watch them duel it out with some brilliant examples. We'll even see what looks like a final checkmate. But then we'll unpack the real hidden logic that changes everything.
Okay, so first things first, let's set the stage. To really get what this argument is all about, we have to understand the rules of the ritual that started this whole thing.
This question is right at the heart of it. So picture this. You've got this super important, sacred ritual with a very, very strict rule book. What happens when someone messes up? In our story, the mistake involves a bird offering in the ancient temple. And believe me, the consequences are way more complex than you'd think. Okay, so what are the rules of the game here? It's pretty straightforward, really. You've got two main kinds of bird offerings. First, there's the burnt offering, the olah. It's prepared above a red line on the altar. And here's the key. No one is allowed to eat it. It's all for God. Then you have the sin offering, the chatat. That one's done below the red line, and the priests are allowed to eat from it. See the difference? Above the line, no eating. Below the line, eating is okay. Keep that in mind because it's crucial. Now, there's one more key term we've got to get our heads around. Mila. You can basically think of it as misusing sacred property. So imagine a priceless artifact in a museum that's obviously not for sale. If you somehow took it and used it for your own benefit, you'd be in some serious trouble. Mila is the ancient sacred version of that. It's the central legal problem in our entire debate.
All right, we've got the ground rules down. Now, let's bring in our two intellectual gladiators and see where the fireworks start.
So here's the scenario, the big mix-up. A priest takes a burnt offering, remember, the no-eating allowed one, but he prepares it just like a sin offering, that you can eat at one. Now, if someone comes along and eats it, is that milah? Is that misuse? Well, our two sages have completely opposite takes. Rabbi Eliezer is firm. Yes, absolutely, it's misuse. But Rabbi Yehoshua says, nope, it is not misuse.
Rabbi Eliezer comes out swinging with what seems like a knockout punch. His logic is, look, if you take something you can eat, like a sin offering, and you change its name to something else, you become liable for misusing it. So he reasons, if you take something you can't eat, like a burnt offering, and you change its name, well, it should definitely still be forbidden, right? It seems like common sense.
But Rabbi Yehoshua, he's quick. He comes right back and says, whoa, not so fast. He points out a critical flaw. He says, in your example, you're changing a permitted thing into a forbidden thing. But in our actual case, the priest changed the bird into something that's normally permitted for priests to eat, a sin offering. That, he says, is a fundamentally different situation, so your logic just doesn't apply here.
And just like that, the duel is on. This is where we get into this incredible back and forth, this volley of brilliant examples, as each sage tries to find a flaw in the other's reasoning.
Okay, let's track this, play by play. Rabbi Eliezer throws his first punch. What about changing a guilt offering into a peace offering? Still misuse. But Rabbi Yehoshua dodges, pointing out, but you didn't change its location. So Rabbi Eliezer comes back with a 1-2 combo. Okay, what if we change the name and the location? Still misuse. But Rabbi Yehoshua blocks again. Yeah, but you didn't change the procedure. You see, with every single example, Rabbi Yehoshua masterfully shows that our bird offering case, it's just built different.
All right, and this brings us to what feels like the main event. After all that jabbing and parrying, Rabbi Yehoshua prepares to deliver what seems to be the final crushing blow.
This is his killer move. Rabbi Yehoshua basically says, you've missed the point. Our little bird offering is a completely different animal. Why? Because in this one specific case, everything was changed. The priest changed its name, he changed its location on the altar, and he changed the entire procedure of how it was prepared. It was a complete top-to-bottom transformation.
And what happens next? In the face of this powerhouse, three-part argument, the ancient text tells us something incredible. Rabbi Eliezer is silent. He says nothing.
So, is that it? Is it game over? Did Rabbi Yehoshua just win? I mean, maybe. But that silence feels heavy, you know? It feels like there's something more going on. We know what happened, but we don't really know why. There has to be a deeper reason, a hidden principle at play here. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Because centuries later, a whole new group of scholars took a magnifying glass to this debate, and what they uncovered is a total game changer. Let's dig in and find out why Rabbi Yehoshua's argument was so unbeatable.
Let's bring in our master detective, the sage Rava. Generations later, he re-examines all the evidence of this debate, and he has this total aha moment. He realizes Rabbi Eliezer's silence wasn't about defeat. It was a moment of sudden understanding. He finally saw the secret logic, the hidden engine behind Rabbi Yeshua's argument.
So here it is, the big reveal. Rabba figures out Rabbi Yehoshua's secret weapon. The argument wasn't just that the priest changed the name and the location in the procedure. No, it was that the very physical act of performing the sin offering ritual on that bird, the specific pinching of its nape, it instantly and legally transformed the bird. The split second that happened, it legally stopped being a burnt offering and became a sin offering.
And boom, that solves the entire puzzle, right? If the bird legally became a proper sin offering the very moment the ritual began, then by the time the ritual was finished, well, it was a perfectly valid sin offering. And since priests are allowed to eat sin offerings, there was no misuse. The problem just evaporates.
But wait a second. A good logical puzzle always has one more twist, doesn't it? This whole idea of transformation raises a new question. Does this magic trick work in reverse? Could you take a sin offering and turn it into a burnt offering?
And the final piece of the puzzle comes from another brilliant sage, Rav Ashi. He points out that, yeah, this transformation, it's a one-way street. A burnt offering can become a sin offering because the process works. But a sin offering has such specific rules that the moment you try to do the wrong procedure on it, it's instantly disqualified. It can't become anything else, it just becomes invalid.
So, when you boil it all down, this ancient, super specific debate about a mistaken bird offering, it leaves us with this huge, timeless question. It's not just about ancient rituals. It's about transformation itself. At what point does an action, a single decision, a new discovery, one crucial moment fundamentally change the very nature of a thing, or even a person? Now that is a question worth thinking about.